time span trends that we're really interested in, and also by location, which I showed you. And yeah, this will drill down into what we expect. Can then be visualized like in our wireframes that we had before. So we've got that far, still beginning of development, but we'd love to hear from you if you've got similar projects or lessons for us, if you've ever worked with natural language processing or mining or even visualizing research of this kind. So are we doing questions? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, shall I just?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. So, thanks everyone.
I think it's going to be a bit weird if I start when he's still here. So I'm just going to wait.
Sorry.
Okay, so I decided to change my topic fairly late on because I had an idea, which was that 11 years ago, when I was quite young, I tried to start a social enterprise. Oh, I worked, I'll be honest, I worked with my uncle on a social enterprise idea in Mumbai, India. And it's still running. And I was thinking about a project that I'm working on right now with Jamie at Edinburgh University. And I'm seeing many parallels between these two projects with one major difference, which is technology and the mapping solutions that we have today compared to what we didn't have in 2004. So I'm mainly going to talk about these two projects and try and draw parallels and differences between them because of what we now have. Just to tell you quickly a little bit about me, I'm one of the co-founders of this organization called SotM, which is based upstairs. And we do two main things, really. One, renewable energy development for non-corporates, charities, community groups, etc. Wind projects, solar projects, biomass, geothermal, the whole range of renewable technologies. The second thing that we have been doing for the past 5 years is mapping community renewable energy projects, starting in Scotland, then England, Wales, the rest of Britain. We're now doing Ireland, Spain, USA, Australia. And this platform has actually been developed by our previous speaker's organization, GeoGeo. And a third interest of mine is social enterprise design and operation. So as I've already said, what I'm going to talk about is a case study between these two projects, which are both based in India, 2004 and 2015. So I'm breaking down the social enterprise development process into three, which is problem definition, project design, and project delivery. And in terms of project definition, mapping allows you to have a show me rather than tell me approach. And when I look back at what we did in 2004, the project's really good, but we weren't able to tell people in a very succinct way. So what this project was called Inheritance India, and the idea was to buy collectively parcels of ecologically sensitive land in the Western Ghats in Kerala in order to hold them as a commercial asset so that they couldn't be destroyed, essentially. The value would rise, and the goods and services would be developed on that land to be sold in urban markets to make money in the meantime. Looking around on the internet recently, I began to think, well, how could that problem definition have been explained in a better way, rather than just using simple photographs and text? How to do it now? Now, this is an amazing, maybe some of you know about this, but Global Forest Watch, this is an amazing website where you can view changes in forest cover around the world in time lapse. So just to show you a quick look at what that is like. This is Indonesia, showing actually a large amount of reforestation that's happening in blue and deforestation that's happening in red over the past 15 years or so. Now, if we had had that in 2004, that would have been a hell of a sell, because the Western Ghats in Kerala is shrinking at one hell of a rate. And still is, actually. So to 2015, and we're working in Orissa, in eastern India. And again, Paul made this, along with his team. Sorry for embarrassing you. So to our 2015 project, we're looking at how to offer repair services in off-grid solar, small-scale solar energy products, how to offer repair services to people that have broken equipment and have no logistical or financial means to find the person that's going to be able to fix their product. Now, the first thing we were able to do to define that problem was to map all of the types of projects that we're talking about and trying to interest people in. Again, I'm just going to show a quick video of how this web map works. So I'm able to click in and find out more information about the types of projects, the trends in uptake in various areas. I can go finer grained if I want, from regions to districts to blocks, and also see the underlying data in this table here. And that's been a really good way of being able to explain to people the types of things, the types of projects that we're actually working with, and what exists on the ground. The next stage in the social enterprise development process is design. So we know what the problem is. What are we going to do about it? How do we design our enterprise or business? Well, in 2004, we had a lot of constraints or assumptions to deal with when trying to design something that would work and solve what we saw as a need. Firstly, we had no way of having oversight over the staff who were based in Kerala, some 1,000 kilometers down the coast from where we were. When we visited the land every now and then, we didn't know what we were going to find. Sometimes you'd find that the hut/office had been torn down by the local elephant herd. Other times you'd show up and the staff member would be drunk on penny. So these types of issues, we didn't know what we were going to come up against. Also, due to the logistical problems, the approach to the enterprise had to be bulk produce and bulk sell, and reliance on selling finally in the big cities of India. And due to this approach, it meant that you couldn't really have a hands-off or localized approach to the business. It had to be done by a management team, equals expensive. To 2015, we're able to design enterprise in a completely different way by localizing it. To do that, we have to rely on, or we are able to rely on mobile and web tools. So by using mobile phone, SMS gateway, with data projected onto a web map, we're able to see what is happening in the field without actually being there. We've got oversight down the value chain. In this case, I'm talking about the solar PV project. We're trying to get people like this guy fixing stuff like this. And it's a very local service delivery model. If he might live 5 miles down the road, we don't need to be there. In this case, we're able to lower management and logistical costs, completely lower the transaction costs, and have an agent-based model. So this is the kind of business model we're able to do using the tools, which I'll come on to explain a little bit more in a minute. So by having a web overview of what's going on and having data fed to us by agents who are using smartphones in the field, we don't actually need to talk to each other very often. And these agents are able to deliver their services to the end users and simply update back up the chain. The final part of the social enterprise design is to do with social enterprise operation is to do with the delivery. So back in 2004, we didn't have any optimization processes in place. We're taking coffee from a rainforest land in Kerala and selling it in Mumbai. Once the coffee was in Mumbai, we didn't use GIS to calculate optimal routes through the city for delivery people. We simply sent a boy into the city with bags of coffee to deliver in whatever way he wanted to deliver it. Not very clever, but that's the way that we did it. Now we're able to use, I'm sorry, this is probably offensive to some people, showing slides of Google Maps at this particular conference, but this is beta, I'm sure. I assure you we will be upgrading this. So now we're able to use mapping, a mixture of offline and online, for people to understand exactly where their end users are. We're looking to work this out at the moment. We haven't quite done this, I have to say, looking at ways of optimizing routes. And basically the agents and also us as overseers have a much better spatial awareness of what's going on. This is the app that is now in development for this particular project. The map that I had up earlier, which has all the data of the projects in the region, is great for us to see what exists on the ground, and it's great for us to show other people. But our agents on the ground cannot access it. It's too heavy. So for them, we'll be providing the raw data in booklet format for them to use on the ground. And for us, as the project managers or those people that were commissioned to create this project in the first place, we're able to see everything that's going on through the internet. This, again, Google Maps, we can change that. We're able to see where the end users are, where their service requests are coming from, who our local agents are, and how they're getting on, if they're letting things slip or if they're doing a good job. We're also able to see how much people charge and how much people have paid, any feedback, negative or positive, and basically oversee the whole project through a normal dashboard like this. I think the problem that we're coming up to now, coming to the end of kind of beta development, is this online versus offline issue, which I'm sure some people in the room would have good insights on. There's a lot of things that work against what we're trying to do in the field in terms of data connectivity, lack of internet, lack of understanding of how to use these tools, as has already been spoken about today. And also the quality of online maps. We saw in the morning session the Google map of, I think it was somewhere in Chad or Mali, which was one street. The places that we're working in Orissa might not even have that street map. And I think we definitely need for this project a mapathon, and I'm looking forward to talking to people about that later. Also, when it comes to finding people on a map, if you're using satellite imagery, for example, is it possible to load that? Is it possible to preload that? We haven't figured that one out yet, but if it isn't, then you're relying on GPS, and if you can't actually see the base map, it's a problem. It needs to be worked through. So, quickly to conclude, these tools are amazing. I mean, I saw Google Earth when I first went to university. QGIS and Mapbox and all these tools have been introduced to them mainly through GeoGeo, and they really changed the way that you're able to design enterprise. Change the way that your problem definition is explained to people. Changes some of the or removes some of the constraints from design. Allows you to use local agents rather than having a management-heavy approach, and also allows you to reach customers, or it's not always a customer, it might be a patient or whatever it is, more easily. However, when we're working in places that remain unconnected, we really need to be wary of when offline tools are appropriate and when online tools are appropriate, and that's still something that we're trying to work out in the context of this particular project. And that's all from me.
Well, thanks very much, PJ. So just as in previous sessions, I'd like to invite questions or comments to all of our previous 4 speakers. I don't know if anybody has anything they'd like to kick off with. Please feel free to ask questions or clarifications or kind of larger generic questions. Perhaps I can kick off. I wanted to ask Adam from the Open Data Institute a little bit more about the position with regards maps. When should maps be open? Does the ODI have a position on the relationships? Some of your statements about open data, how does that relate to the map?
Fair question. Yeah. Fair question. I think that spectrum I showed, the data spectrum, shows that it's a bit of an open-ended question to answer in a quick way. So what's the map show? What's the information on the map that is behind it? Is it a map of someone's medical history episodes? Something like that wouldn't be open. But a map of AD roads, I think there's a consensus. It's a debate we have on a whole range of things. One by one, civil service by civil service.
And are they questions that are just going to be resolved out there in the open, or are they questions that get resolved by institutions like yours?
Well, it's certainly not by us alone. And yeah, in many places it is. I heard some of my colleagues came back from a visit to several countries in Paris and China. And they have an open innovation project just running at the moment. So the British government have one. It's funded to sort of an incubator model where people come up with ideas, and if the ideas get through, they get a bit of money to do some pilots, and then one gets quite a lot of money to make something on it. The alternative in China is if you have good ideas, submit a good idea, and if they like it, they'll let you have the data to do something. So it's what way it's coming from. There are big differences across the world. So government's attitude to the database is very diverse. Yeah. it's hard to just spin it into a chunk summary, but it's a big debate that needs to be happening.
I have a drone question. I don't know anything about drones really, but for missing much field mapping purposes, drones would obviously be awesome in those places because pre-satellite imagery is severely lacking. In terms of drones that can be sourced or built in Congo, what's around?
We're working with a group in the States, again related to Patrick Meyer, for a platform called Drone Mapper. And the concept is that we want to be able to allow anyone to just take a balloon and a camera and take a picture. And the idea is that we can, if enough people do that over one area, we'll be able to stitch the photos together to create that ortho mosaic. And that's one thing. I do see a bit of a sort of a shelf life in terms of the commercial use of drones, because I think that in about 5 years' time, you're going to see a lot of these being able to be 3D printed out of the box kind of thing. And that's kind of where I hope it does go, because at the moment it's still limited to a lot of proprietary companies. And the other thing is that aviation law is quite a key aspect of all of this. So in order for you to put any type of drone in the air, you need to prove yourself as airworthy. In the UK, for example, there's only 2 models out of 250 available that have that. One of them is the EV that I seem to have lost, and the other one is one made by Trimble, which is double the price. And I think that is something. Actually, I'm really surprised because last time I checked, the US military donated a whole bunch of Reapers to the UN, and I'm yet to see UNOSAT or UN Spider, they're space-based information, but I'm yet to see those being deployed into the field and for the data to be shared. But that's something that once it does happen, goes back to the same ground. How do you get that imagery on a device by itself, like DJ was asking, and make it accessible to people in the field?
With balloons, sidestep, does it sidestep the perception issue that exists in some places and the law about flying? Like, can you put up a balloon anywhere you like?
Yeah, it's strange enough. A balloon, yeah, you can just put a balloon on, no one's really going to care. But as soon as you drop the D word, then everyone else.
That question, how do you get your balloons down again?
I don't think. Exactly. Kites would be a great alternative. But yeah, there are platforms in development at the moment to allow crowdsourcing of aerial imagery to create that working mosaic. That would be great.
Do you know if there's been any research about using those to locate missing persons? We're in the day and age where we're looking at elderly people who are regularly going missing. I live down in Kent, there's an entire team who volunteer to go out searching for them on a regular basis. You can see what we've got there, you can search a vast area very, very quickly.
Yeah.
There's been some in mountain rescue ones that they've done, and they then use crowdsourcing with that to actually identify the in the pictures where they are.
Actually, David Birkenshaw's research for the Masters in GIS was about helping teams understand where they've searched for and using viewshed analysis to understand what areas are still unchecked.
The biggest limitation was the availability of LiDAR data and high resolution imagery. Thinking quite nicely.
But of course, again, back to aviation law, you start saying that you want to survey people, that you draw a different kettle of fish in terms of getting clearance. But as far as I know, it's quite limited in its use.
So don't get lost in Kent. Does anybody else have a question? Okay, in which case, we're going to take a short break for coffee, and then I'm going to invite you to come back a little bit earlier than scheduled, I think, to hand over to Pete Masters for a final closing address. So perhaps if you could come back in 15 minutes.